Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are breaking down chapter 185, Whacky. And wacky is one word for it.
It's the perfect word for it. This chapter is a masterclass in turning a gag into a genuine threat, and then turning that threat back into a gag. It's a tonal roller coaster that only a storyteller with Oda's level of confidence could even attempt, let alone pull off so perfectly.
Exactly. We go from a papier-mâché hammer to Usopp getting his face dragged through solid rock walls, all culminating in maybe the most clever tag team finish we've seen from the crew yet. This is peak Straw Hat problem solving. This isn't about hitting harder, it's about thinking weirder. It's super.
It's the kind of strategy that makes you want to go back and reread everything you thought you knew. The clues are always there, but Oda is a master at distracting you with the spectacle until the final brilliant reveal. If you appreciate that level of long-form genius, you should probably make sure you're subscribed to our feed. You wouldn't want to miss the next piece of the puzzle.
You really wouldn't. All right, let's get into it. The chapter kicks off right where we left off, with Usopp bringing down the hammer.
The legendary Usopp hammer, supposedly weighing 5 tons. The lettering on the hammer itself, the dramatic pose, the bead of sweat, it's a performance piece.
It's pure theater, and he smacks Mr. Four right on the head with it. The panel is framed for maximum impact. You expect this devastating crunch, but the big guy, he just kind of slowly gets back up. It's a direct hit, but he's more confused than hurt. He looks like a cow that just got bonked by a pool noodle.
Because, as we find out immediately, the 5-ton hammer is a complete lie. It's a hollow papier-mâché prop that weighs less than 5 pounds, and the sound effect is just this pathetic little "buck." The contrast between the visual setup and the auditory payoff is comedic gold.
This is Usopp's entire fighting style in a nutshell. It's not about overwhelming power, it's about making the enemy believe you have overwhelming power. He sells the lie so hard, and for a second, it works. The shock is the real weapon. This goes all the way back to how he operated in Syrup Village. His whole identity is built on crafting a legend, and he tries to weaponize that legend in every fight.
It's a bluff, but the problem is he's fighting Mr. Four. The man is so slow, so dim-witted that the psychological impact is almost zero. He doesn't have the mental speed to even be scared properly. Think about it. This tactic would have worked on so many other villains. Can you imagine how someone like Buggy or even Captain Kuro would have reacted? They would have freaked out, dodged, overanalyzed it. But Mr. Four has no ego to attack, no intellect to outmaneuver. He is a rock, and Usopp's psychological warfare just glances right off him.
It's like trying to scare a wall. He just processes, "I got hit," and then gets back to the business of standing there. The look on Usopp's face when he realizes his ultimate weapon was a total dud is priceless. The panic is immediate, so he does what he does best. He pivots. He turns his attention to Miss Merry Christmas.
And this is where the wacky part of the chapter title comes in. He charges at her with the hammer, and she just dives into the ground. She's a mole fruit user, so she starts popping up out of different holes like an arcade game.
It is literally whack-a-mole. Oda is having so much fun with this. Usopp is swinging this giant, useless hammer, trying to time his hits, while she just zips around underground, completely untouchable. The panels are pure chaos. You have Usopp's elongated, cartoonish swings, and her taunting face appearing and disappearing. It's brilliant. He's playing her game on her turf, and he's losing badly.
It's an interesting application of a Zoan fruit. We've seen Dalton turn into a bison, a very direct physical transformation. Miss Merry Christmas, however, uses her fruit to completely manipulate the battlefield. She isn't just a mole. She's using the behavior of a mole as her primary weapon. It makes her far more versatile and unpredictable than a simple brawler.
And what does Usopp do when he gets tired? When he's exhausted from swinging this dumb thing around? He stops, leans on his fake hammer to catch his breath, and starts telling stories.
Of course he does. It's his default setting. When physical effort fails, the mouth starts going.
He starts bragging about his legend, his army of followers, all of his grand adventures. Listen up, I am the great Captain Usopp, a proud warrior of the sea. It's so over the top. And my favorite part of this whole chapter might be Chopper in the background, just eating it up.
His eyes are sparkling. He completely believes that Captain Usopp is a legendary warrior with a massive army at his command. You have to remember, Chopper's entire world before the Straw Hats was a handful of people on Drum Island. He has no frame of reference for bravado or tall tales. To him, this isn't a lie, it's just a fact he didn't know yet.
It's so pure. It speaks volumes about both of them. Usopp needs an audience to fuel his courage. He's like a performer who gets energy from the crowd. If someone believes in his lies, he starts to believe them a little bit too. And Chopper, who's been so isolated and was called a monster his whole life, has never met anyone who could spin a yarn like that. He's found someone who seems impossibly brave and cool. It's the beginning of a beautiful, gullible friendship.
But it's also a stalling tactic. Usopp knows he can't win with force. He's buying time, trying to think, trying to find an angle. The lies are a defensive mechanism. When he feels cornered and weak, he inflates his own legend to create space, both physically and mentally. He's trying to psych himself up as much as he's trying to psych out the enemy.
The problem is, Miss Merry Christmas doesn't have the patience for it. She's not Mr. 4. She's sharp and she's angry.
Not at all. She gets tired of the game, bursts out of the ground right in front of him, and just rakes her claws across his face.
And it is brutal. The mood shifts on a dime. 1 second it's a cartoon, the next second Usopp is flying backwards, bleeding. Oda pulls the rug out from under you. The sound effect is a vicious zack, and you see the blood splatter. It's a harsh reminder that these are Baroque Works agents. They're killers.
They play silly games, they have ridiculous themes, but at their core, they are assassins. This is what happens when Usopp's bluffs are called. The reality of the power gap is violent and immediate.
The comedy evaporates, and you're left with the cold, hard fact that Usopp, a normal human, is fighting a superpowered assassin who wants to kill him.
She doesn't even waste a second. She immediately yells for Lasso, the cannon dog, to take out Chopper. There's no gloating, no monologue. It's all cold, deadly efficiency.
And we see that devastating combo again. Lasso sneezes out a whole barrage of exploding baseballs, and Mr. 4 steps up to the plate. It's such a bizarre concept, but the execution is terrifying.
He just swings that massive bat and connects with every single one, sending a volley of explosions right at Chopper. It's this incredibly simple but terrifyingly effective attack. There's no complex strategy, just overwhelming slow-motion destruction. Mr. 4's slowness is actually an asset here. He has all the time in the world to line up his swing perfectly because the baseballs are coming from his own partner.
And Chopper gets caught in the blast. It's a huge explosion. The partnership between Mr. 4, Miss Merry Christmas, and their pet weapon is deceptively effective. They cover each other's weaknesses perfectly. She provides the speed and tactics, he provides the raw power, and Lasso provides the ammunition. It's a dark reflection of the Straw Hats' own teamwork, a unit where each part makes the whole much more dangerous.
While Chopper is down, Miss Merry Christmas goes right back to Usopp. She starts chasing him, and Usopp, thinking on his feet, spots these low-standing walls around the area. He's back in strategy mode.
His plan is pretty clever on paper. He's quick and agile. He can easily jump over the walls. She's short and stout. He thinks he can make her run straight into them, tire her out, maybe knock her out. It's a classic chase sequence strategy.
It's a great Looney Tunes style plan. Bait the charging bull into hitting a wall. He's Wile E. Coyote and he's just painted a tunnel on a rock face. Except, she's a Zoan user.
And Zoans come with a significant physical power-up. She doesn't hit the wall, she goes through the wall. She just demolishes it without even slowing down. The stone explodes around her. The look on Usopp's face is pure, unadulterated terror. His plan didn't just fail, it backfired in the most spectacular way.
Then she grabs him. And this part is just rough to watch. She grabs Usopp by the straps of his overalls and starts dragging him, using him as a human battering ram to smash through wall after wall after wall.
It's absolutely vicious. It's played for a bit of a gag with his eyes bugging out and the repeated crash, but the impact is real. He's taking a horrifying amount of damage. This is where you see the sheer grit of Usopp. He's physically one of the weakest members of the crew, but his endurance, his ability to absorb punishment is off the charts. He's taking blows that would put most normal people in a coma.
He just refuses to stay down. This is his defining characteristic. Remember his fight with Chu in Arlong Park? He got beaten to a pulp, but he kept getting up, kept fighting back with his tricks. This is that, amplified. But this is also where his kind of planning hits a wall, literally. He misjudged her power completely, and now he's paying the price for it.
It's a painful lesson in how devil fruits change the equation. You can't just assume normal physics apply. You have to account for the weirdness, for the monstrous strength they can grant. Usopp's strategies are often based on exploiting the predictable laws of physics and human psychology. A mole woman who can smash through stone with her face doesn't fit into that model. He has to adapt or die.
While all this is happening, Chopper is recovering from the explosion, and you can see the gears turning in his head. He's not just shaking it off, he's processing. He's watching all this, he's seeing the tunnels she's making, the way she moves, the way she smashed through the walls, and he has a moment of realization.
The light bulb goes on. He figures it out. He connects the dots. The weakness isn't Mr. Four's speed or Miss Merry Christmas's temper. It's the tunnels. Her entire strategy, her entire field advantage is predicated on this underground network.
They're all connected. Every single hole she's dug leads back into the same network. It's her greatest strength and her greatest weakness all at once. She built herself a fortress, but she forgot to build an emergency exit.
And Chopper, being a doctor, is a diagnostician. He observed the symptoms, the constant reappearing, the interconnected paths, and he diagnosed the systemic flaw. It's a brilliant character moment. His intelligence is his primary weapon here. He's not just the cute mascot or the brawler with rumble balls. He is Dr. Tony Chopper, a scientist and a genius.
So he puts the plan into action. He gets Lasso, the cannon dog, who is just standing there looking dumb, and he grabs him. He turns him around, aims him like a bazooka, and points his head directly into one of the mole tunnels.
Lasso, being a sick weapon, just starts firing. It's an involuntary reaction. He sneezes out baseball after baseball, not at an enemy, but into the closed system of tunnels. It's so beautifully simple. He's not trying to fight Lasso. He's just using the weapon's own function for a different purpose.
Usopp and Chopper just book it. They sprint out of there as fast as they can while you hear the muffled bomph, bomph, bomph of explosions starting underground. It's an incredible panel, just the two of them running for their lives from their own master plan.
And because all the tunnels are connected, it creates a chain reaction. The entire battlefield, which Miss Merry Christmas had shaped to her advantage, erupts in a massive, rolling series of explosions from below. The ground itself becomes the weapon.
It is an absolutely perfect finish. They didn't beat them with a punch. They didn't outmuscle them. They turned the enemy's own ability, their own territory, and their own weapon against them in the most spectacular way possible. That is a super victory for the weakling duo.
It's more than that. Think about what this means for them as a team. Usopp provided the distraction. He took the beating. He was the bait. He absorbed all the damage and bought the time Chopper needed to think. Chopper, in turn, provided the brilliant strategic insight that Usopp couldn't see while he was being used as a wrecking ball. They won together, covering for each other's flaws.
Yes, that's it exactly. This isn't Luffy just punching harder. This isn't Zoro cutting something he couldn't cut before. This is two guys who are hopelessly outmatched physically, using their brains and their guts to orchestrate a victory. That's the heart of the Straw Hats, right there. Everyone contributes in their own unique way.
This fight will be foundational for their relationship. They established a deep trust here. Chopper saw Usopp's courage, the willingness to endure an impossible beating without giving up, and Usopp saw Chopper's incredible intelligence, his ability to stay calm under pressure and analyze a situation. They are no longer just the liar and the new kid. They are a proven, effective combat team.
What a way to end a fight. It's one of my all-time favorites for sheer creativity. And then we get a few little details at the end.
Right. The fight seems to be over, with Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas defeated, but then there's that other little detail. A devil fruit can be seen in the panda shark's fridge.
The what now? The panda shark? I must have missed that detail in the chaos. I was so focused on the explosion, I didn't even see it.
It's a very easy detail to miss. It seems to just be a background detail. In one of the panels showing the wreckage, there's this bizarre creature that is literally a shark with panda markings, and it's next to an open, old-fashioned refrigerator. Inside that fridge is a classic swirly patterned devil fruit.
Okay, that's bizarre. That is peak Oda right there. Just a completely inexplicable, surreal detail thrown into the background of a major fight. So there's just a loose devil fruit sitting around in Alabasta? In a shark's refrigerator?
It seems so. It raises a lot of questions. We've only ever seen them as these legendary, priceless treasures. Buggy's crew was ready to kill for one. To see one just sitting in a fridge, it almost demystifies it. It suggests they might be more common, or at least can be found in the strangest of places if you know where to look.
Or maybe this panda shark is a devil fruit collector. We just don't know. He's probably got a whole collection of them next to the milk and eggs. Also, we get Oda's author comment for the week.
He says that Katsura-sensei showed him his home theater, and it was so impressive it might as well have been a real movie theater.
I love these little glimpses into his life. The man is creating this epic, world-spanning saga, and he's taking a moment to get hyped about his friend's AV setup. It's grounding. It's a reminder that this massive story is being made by a regular guy who gets excited about cool stuff.
It's a nice reminder of the person behind the pages, and it feels fitting for a chapter that had so much cartoonish, over-the-top action.
A perfect end to a perfect chapter. This was all about brains over brawn, and I loved every second of it. A true underdog story within the larger story.
It was an incredible showcase for two characters who desperately needed a victory like this to solidify their place as fighters on the crew. If you have a theory about what kind of devil fruit was sitting in that panda shark's fridge, we honestly would love to hear it in the comments. I'm very curious what people might think it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. A panda shark fruit, a refrigerator fruit, the cold fruit? Let us know. Okay, predictions for chapter 186. I'll go first.
Please do.
Prediction 1. We are cutting straight back to Sanji. We left his fight with Mr. 2 Bon Clay on a cliffhanger. With this fight wrapped up, it feels like the perfect time to resolve that one. It's the only other officer-agent fight that's currently in progress. I think we open on the final kicks being thrown. Oda likes to resolve these fights in sequence to build momentum.
That feels right. It's the next logical fight to check in on. The pacing would demand it.
Prediction 2. Vivi makes a major breakthrough. The clock is ticking on the bomb in the capital. We keep getting reminded of the time limit. I predict that in the next chapter, she, with help from Karoo and the super spot-build duck squad, finally locates the cannon, or whatever device Crocodile has set up in the city square. We're moving into the end game for Alubarna, and she is the key to that part of the plot.
So you think we focus back on the ticking clock? I can see that. The personal battles are intertwined with the fate of the nation. My turn.
Let's hear it.
My first prediction is that we will see Crocodile. We haven't seen him since he defeated Luffy and left him for dead in the desert. He's the Eye of the Storm, the puppet master. I think we'll get a scene of him in the palace, calm and confident, maybe looking out over the chaos in the city, watching his plan come to fruition. It would serve to remind us of the tree stakes and the immense power waiting at the top of the ladder.
The villain check-in. Always good to build that tension and remind us why everyone is fighting so hard. What's your second?
My second prediction concerns Nami. She was last seen trying to get Vivi to safety, but she's a fighter in her own right now with her new Climate Act. If your prediction is right and Vivi finds the bomb, Nami's going to be right there with her. I think the next chapter will set Nami up for her own confrontation. Miss Doublefinger has been tailing them, and we still haven't seen her in a proper fight. I predict the chapter ends with Miss Doublefinger cornering Nami, setting the stage for their battle.
Ooh, I like that. Setting up the next matchup on the board. All the pieces are moving. We're knocking down the Baroque Works dominoes one by one, and I can't wait to see which ones fall next.
Neither can I. This arc is accelerating, and there are still so many fights left to see. The board is being cleared for the final confrontations.